Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Google+ Hangout on Entrepreneurship, the third in a series we are proud to bring you in partnership with the fantastic team at Virgin Unite. My name is Mary Grove, and I'm the Director of Google for Entrepreneurs. Google for Entrepreneurs is our global effort to empower startups and entrepreneurs, and we work with partners and run programs in over 100 countries. This week, we celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week, and we honor entrepreneurs everywhere who are taking risks and creating companies that have transformative ability to improve their companies, their communities, and ultimately the world. Today, I'm honored to welcome two of the world's most accomplished entrepreneurs to share from their own personal experience. First, Sir Richard Branson, who is the founder of Virgin Group, joining us live from Necker Island. Welcome, Sir Richard.
Welcome to you. I'm sorry, we have bad weather here, so we're not going to see much of the picture for the minute, but hopefully I'll be live with you in a moment.
Yes, hi Richard, thank you. And welcome to Ben Silbermann, who is the CEO and co-founder of Pinterest, joining us live from San Francisco. Welcome, Ben.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hello. We're thrilled to welcome a great group of entrepreneurs from around the world who are joining us. First, welcome to the Branson Center in Johannesburg, South Africa. The Virgin Startup Group joining us from London in the UK.
Hi.
The Startup Weekend organizers in Bangkok, Thailand, who are joining us live today from the Hubba co-working space.
สวัสดีครับ
The team at Virgin Mobile in Bogota, Colombia. And the Branson Center in Kingston, Jamaica.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. So Ben and Richard, let's begin by diving into your perspectives on entrepreneurship, and then we'll turn it over to each participating community to ask you their questions, and then close with some parting thoughts for our online audience. So Richard and Ben, you are both such successful entrepreneurs. Tell me, were you born an entrepreneur? What was the first business that you started, and how did it turn out?
Ben, I'll let you talk first.
Sure. I think growing up, I didn't actually know I wanted to start a business. A lot of my family are doctors, or they're in the science field, and so I thought I would do that. But in college, I got really excited about the idea of building products for consumers. I think I just sort of followed that excitement to where I am today. So my first product that I tried to make with some friends was software that lets you see what you look like when you're trying glasses on in a doctor's office, because my folks are ophthalmologists, and it always looked so unfortunate that people who had a prescription would try on new frames, but then they couldn't see themselves in their new frames. And so that was the very first thing that I worked on. And then I worked on a bunch of other projects. And I think each one didn't quite get off the ground. It didn't quite end up lasting, but I ended up learning just a ton with each successive experience.
Fantastic. Richard, how about you? We can see you now. I think you're on mute, Richard. Sorry, Richard, I think you're muted on your end, but we can see your lovely smile. Do you mind hitting unmute?
Are we there now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Perfect, perfect. Welcome.
All right. I wasn't in Ben's technical world. I'm sorry, subbed. Anyway, we're there. I was 15 years old. There was a war going on in Vietnam. It was a dreadful war. It's a war that should never have happened. And young people all over the world just wanted to rise up and try to stop the war. And we felt they needed a voice, and so we started a magazine called Student to give them a voice to campaign against the war and to try to get demonstrations going against the embassy and try to get the war stopped. And in the process, we had to become an entrepreneur in order for the magazine to survive. We had to sell enough advertising. We had to distribute the magazine. So we couldn't just have the luxury of being an editor. And I think often the best businesses come when people have got an idea where they really want to make a difference, and they go about to make a difference to other people's lives, and in the process they end up trying to make sure that more money comes in so that their business can survive than goes out.
Absolutely, driven by need. And so I'd like to build on that and ask you to talk both a little bit about ideas versus execution, and how did your ideas change over time?
Sure. Well, I think that, oh, go ahead.
After you, Ben.
Oh, after you, please.
No, no, definitely after you. It gives me time to think.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I think that everyone starts off with kind of the kernel of a small idea, like something that you want to build, and then it's actually in the process of building it that you work out all of the little kinks and details in it. So it's funny, I talk to a lot of people that say, good ideas are a dime a dozen, and other folks that say that it's all execution. But I think it's a little bit of both. I think that the important thing is that people give themselves enough time to actually build a prototype and get something out in front of real people and real customers, and then find out, do they like it or do they not like it, and then you have a little bit of signal that you can use to improve your product or your service over time.
Yeah.
And Richard?
I think a lot of people have similar ideas, and it's really then just up to execution is incredibly important, and actually getting out there, getting the right team of people around you to execute your ideas, to make sure that that people get to know about what you're trying to achieve, and so building a strong team is absolutely critical, and as a first step of executing your ideas.
And so I'd like to build on that a little bit more. We talk often of the importance of team and how that's really the critical component of investing in the great ideas, investing in the people around you. So you have both built incredible teams. Can you share your philosophy on how you think about building a team and building a strong culture?
Sure.
You better direct the question. Tell us who you're directing the question.
That one. Let's start with Ben.
Ben, you go.
Let's start with Ben.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think your team is sort of everything. I mean, my philosophy is pretty simple. Like, I try to hire people that are a lot better than me at something, and then give them a lot of responsibility. Here at Pinterest, our philosophy on culture is that we want to be a company that's completely focused on users, and then we bring people together that have lots and lots of different backgrounds, engineering backgrounds, design backgrounds, marketing, writing, and we try to all point them at the same goal. And I think that what I'm trying to learn as sort of a first-time CEO is, how do I create an environment where all of these creative people can work together towards a very single objective very, very efficiently. So I think the raw ingredients are the people you hire, and then even more importantly is, what is the environment that you put those people in to succeed together. Because I think, for me at least, the most fun part about building within a company is that you can build things that are a lot bigger than yourself, that you don't have the skills to execute all by yourself on, and actually no individual at your company does either.
I think that's really insightful, building a team that you hope is stronger than you as an individual. Richard, how about you in terms of the team and the elements of the culture that you've really built in the Virgin community?
Yeah, well, first, I think the most important thing is that you create a product that people 100% believe in, that they're completely committed to work day and night to try to make it succeed. That you give them, like if you have an airline, say in America, like Virgin America, you give them all the tools that they can be, really proud of the airline that they're working on. So nothing is letting them down. I think with a lot of the big airlines around the world, the staff are not given the tools, and therefore they're not smiling, they're not happy, they're not proud of the job that they're doing, and it affects them, and it therefore affects the customers. So So create something which sings, which is which is delightful, which everybody's talking about, where the staff when they go out to the pub in the evenings and when they say that they work for such and such a company, they're really proud of that fact, and that's half the battle. And then obviously get out there and find people who are great with people to run your companies. People who look for the best in people, people who are great and inspiring people, and I think if you can do that, and if they're well motivated by what they're doing, you can pretty well achieve anything. You can ride the down times, you can enjoy the good times together, and you can build a great company.
Sky's the limit. So
yeah.
we pulled our online community.
Not if you got Virgin Galactic. Anyway.
Right, exactly. We polled our online community about questions they would like to ask the both of you, and one topic that came up again and again was around financing. And so I would like to ask how you've managed the financing of your companies initially and then as they grew, and what advice do you have for entrepreneurs who are looking to finance their companies today? Ben, let's start with you.
Sure. So when me and my co-founders got started, we didn't have any sort of outside funding, so it started out just out of pocket. But pretty soon we realized we needed some money, and it was a tough time to raise money here in the U.S. It was 2008, 2009. So it actually took a long time. It took almost a year for us to get a little bit of funding together. But I think that process was really great because in the process we met a lot of people that themselves had started companies. I think, especially if you're a first-time entrepreneur, I mean, the two things that I learned that were important to me one was to pick investors that really believed in the vision of where you wanted to take the company. And you may not know 100% exactly how it's going to work out, but at that moment in time, you guys should be totally aligned in where you want it to go someday. Otherwise, it's going to cause trouble. And then the second one that was more subtle was, pick investors that their time horizon is aligned with your time horizon. So at Pinterest, I think we're at the very beginning, and I hope that we build something that will be an important company for many, many years to come. But if someone loans you money and they need it back in 24 months, that's just not going to work for them. And so really understanding why they're investing and where they're coming from and when they expect it back turned out to be just a really important lesson that we learned as we ended up raising some money. I think the best solution for a lot of entrepreneurs is if they can build a business that generates revenue early. Then you don't need to take anyone's money, and then you get to run it. So I think we didn't have that option in our case, but I totally admire and I'm sometimes a little envious of people that took that route and controlled their destiny all the way through.
I think that's really good advice. Richard, thoughts from you?
Well, we were lucky enough to have a business where we actually managed to get the money to come to us before we actually sent the products out. So we one of our earliest businesses was the mail order business, and we would advertise products. We'd get the money, then we'd go and buy the products, and then we'd send the products out. So that did enable us to not have to bring in outside shareholders. And there are some businesses where you can do that, where you can generate cash enough to avoid having to bring in outside shareholders. One quite exciting thing, we lobbied the British government over the last 3 years to see if they could start on entrepreneurial loans for young people instead of just loans for people to go to university. And finally, about 18 months ago, the British government agreed to do that. And so there are now thousands of young people who are getting loans to start businesses rather than just loans to going to college or university. And I think this is going to prove to be a real powerhouse for the British economy. We're doing the same here in the British Virgin Islands. In the British Virgin Island government have just put up $6 million to do it here, and we're also helping them here. And I think if other countries could follow that, it would really give. Often businesses only need $1,000, a couple of $1,000, $10,000, $20,000,
Just to jumpstart.
not an enormous amount of money to get going, so tiny amounts of money can create the new Pinterests of the future, or the new Virgins of the future.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'd like to kick it off to our colleagues in Johannesburg, South Africa. Gavin, let me hand it over to you to ask a question.
Hi there, Richard. Hi, Ben. Thank you, Mary. It's Gavin from the Branson Center down here in Johannesburg. Thanks for taking the time to share your insights with us. I'm with two dynamic entrepreneurs, Perry and Lebo. Perry on my left and Lebo on my right. I'd like to ask you one or two questions, and my first question is for you, Ben, and is from Perry.
Good day, Ben. How are you? I'm good.
Thank you for your time. So my question to you is, over the past 3 years, Pinterest has grown from around 5,000 users to over 70 million. How did you manage that exponential growth, both in the staff complement as well as the infrastructure requirements?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's a great question. I mean, I think on the infrastructure side, partly we had kind of a great team of engineers that just worked their tail off to keep the service running. But we're also, lucky enough to be at a time where there are a lot more off-the-shelf technologies to sort of enable fast growth. I mean, I think it's a special time where you can rent servers on demand and you can scale them up. And so, like a lot of companies that have been founded over the last few years, we're really the beneficiaries of other amazing technical advances that other companies have made possible. I think on the team side, it's trickier, and it's something that we're still figuring out. We have about 200 people at the company. I think about 100 of them are less than a year in. Another 70 of those before that had joined in the previous 2 years. So it's a really new group of people, and I think what we try to do is keep people really laser focused on building an amazing product every day, because day to day things will change. Maybe the project you're working on will change, or the skills, but if you're really focused on making the product something people really love and are excited about, in our case they're using day to day, that's kind of a North Star, and people can deal with a little bit of the churn and the ups and downs that go with starting a company.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks, Perry. Thanks, Ben. And our next question is for you, Richard, and it's from Lebo.
Good day, Richard. I'm Lebo, the founder of the Hookup Dinner, and as well as a Branson Center entrepreneur. Now, my question for you is, in building vision, you have led by leveraging off the power of the collective. How can startups collaborate successfully for the greater good?
Well, I think at the Branson centers in both in Johannesburg and in and in Kingston, and in Jamaica, I think you're learning very quickly that working in collaboration with other people is helping your businesses a lot, and you're feeding off each other's ideas. You're learning from each other. And I think that's one of the great advantages of having a school of entrepreneurship like that. So I think collaboration is incredibly important in business. Obviously, as businesses get bigger, they end up competing with each other, and in fact, it comes to a stage where you're not actually allowed to collaborate. But in the early days, I think collaboration is essential. Are you managing to collaborate there at the center?
Yes. So we have entrepreneurs that get together on a monthly basis and they hook each other up through business opportunities.
It's pretty amazing. We've seen over the last several years.
And that's helping your business.
This sort of rise of the co-working space, the tech hubs, the centers like the Branson centers, and actually live right now we have a number of watch parties around the world at co-working spaces tuning in today. So absolutely, I think that this notion of the physical space for entrepreneurs to convene and this collaboration that's happening is really, really powerful. Now let's head to London and hear from the team at Virgin Startup, and welcome Zoe to introduce your colleagues.
Hi everybody, I'm Zoe Jackson and I run the Living the Dream Performing Arts Company, and I work as an ambassador for Virgin Startup. So before I hand over to these two entrepreneurs to ask some questions, I just want to tell you a bit more about what Virgin Startup does. So it's a new not-for-profit company that helps young entrepreneurs aged 18 to 30 in England with funding, advice and mentoring to help make their business ideas a reality. So Virgin Startup is a delivery partner of the UK government startup loan scheme, and it's going to work with other companies in the Virgin family to offer additional support. Now, it's not just a loans company. They pride themselves on having an amazing mentorship program that will give training, workshops, masterclasses, and one-to-one mentoring. So I'm going to hand over to Rusty, who's the entrepreneur and has a question for Richard.
Hi, Richard. How are you?
I'm great. Nice to talk to you.
Richard, I've got a business idea. I've got a marketing strategy and some financial projections. And now I'm hearing a lot of talk about business mentoring. And I'm just wondering, did you have a business mentor when you started out? And if so, how important was that when you were first starting?
I think having met... Oops, I'm getting a big echo back. If
That should be
right,
better.
let's try again. Sorry, I'm getting enormous feedback. Right, let's try again. Having mentors is absolutely, can be absolutely essential. I mean, I started out when I was 15, 16. My mathematics was dreadful. And fortunately, my parents knew somebody who was an accountant, and I would, once a month, bring my figures along to them, and they would help me make sense of my figures. So it was just somebody who was good enough to give up a couple of hours every month in the evenings to help make sure that that the figures stacked up. I think today, with things like the startup loan scheme and schools of entrepreneurship and other projects like that, there are more mentors around than there used to be when we started in business many years ago. And I think that as young people who are starting up in business, you should just beg people for their time. Keep asking questions, be a good listener, and you'll get a lot of help. Are you able just to tell us briefly what your business is?
I'm in the process of setting up a social media agency, using social media to find targeted leads and converting users online into customers for businesses.
Sounds great, and good luck with that.
Great. Zoe, we have another question from London for Ben.
Yes, so I'm going to hand over to Alberto.
Hello, Ben. Nice to meet you. I have two quick questions about user acquisition, which is usually a nightmare for early stage startups. So when did you first start Pinterest? How did you grow your user base? And what kind of advice would you offer to early stage startup in terms of user acquisition?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Pinterest actually took quite a long time to get off the ground. And our first users were actually my friends and family. I'd send out an email to them, and when people would use it, I'd say, why are those people using it? And when people weren't using it, I'd say, hey, why aren't you using it? And so there's this adjustment period. For us, Pinterest spread mainly by word of mouth, but we were helped out a lot by a blogger that I met by chance at a conference, and she helped me organize another group of bloggers to sort of kick off the service and show people the potential of the service and help tell them how they use it every day. And so for us, like, that seed of a community then spread through word of mouth online. And I don't know, the amazing thing today is that everyone has things like a Facebook account or a Twitter account, so everyone can help spread news very, very quickly, even if you don't have a lot of mechanics built into the service. But I think it starts with having a product that individually you like so much that you want to tell somebody about. And so I think focusing on if people really like what you built, what is that thing that they like, and how do you grow that and make it really clear and the best you can is always the first step to letting people know about it.
Great. Thank you, Ben, Richard, and thank you to the team from London.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's turn to Amarit and the Startup Weekend organizers who are joining us from the Hubba co-working space in Bangkok, Thailand.
Hello, Ben and Richard. Hello from Bangkok. It's 1 a.m. here. We're ecstatic and super excited to be hanging out with you. So I'm Amarit Chonpan. I'm the Startup Weekend facilitator here in Bangkok, and we're with the Startup Weekend crew, alumni, mentors, and organizers. And we have two amazing questions for you. The first one will be by Max. Max is your biggest fan. So Richard, he's also a hot startup. It's Stock Radar here in Bangkok, and also a Startup Weekend mentor. So, Max?
Hi, Richard. This is very exciting to talk with you today. I just got a question for you that we all know that you have done a lot for help fixing global problems, and we just want to know, but it still have a lot more to do. So we just want to know that what is your plan and what we can help, startup community can help to make it a better place for people to live.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for all being up till 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's great to see you all there. I think that what businesses globally need to realize is that we can't just leave it up to governments and the social workers to sort out the problems of the world. We need to we need to first of all get our businesses up and going and secure. But the moment we've done that, we need to make sure that every single company in this world becomes a force for good. And we use our entrepreneurial skills to get out there and help tackle the problems of the world. And I think if enough companies do that, I think we really can get on top of most of the problems in this world. With Virgin Unite, we incubate not-for-profit organizations to try to tackle things like conflicts in the world. We incubate companies to try to protect the oceans through some things like the Oceanic Elders. We implement new not-for-profit organizations like the Carbon War Room to try to work with companies to try to get gigaton levels of carbon out of the Earth's atmosphere. And so Virgin's obviously a big company. We can do big things like that. But smaller companies can also help on a local basis. I mean, there's a company in Byron Bay in Australia, and they just decided to find that it was a very small company that the 30 oldest people are on their own at Christmas, and make sure they all had a Christmas hamper every Christmas. So it can be that extreme upwards, and I think as long as every company plays its part, we'll tick off most of the world's problems.
Thank you very much, Sir Richard. Next for Ben. So we have Yok here. Let's keep going.
Sorry, I don't know if Google can try to, when we're talking to people, I end up looking at Ben and not looking at you lot. So I don't know if they can try to use the cameras so that we can actually talk to the people we're talking to. Otherwise, Ben has to see my mug when he's talking to somebody, which can't be very pleasant. Anyway.
Okay. By the way, Max said he really likes your dress on the AirAsia front. So very beautiful.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I will wear it more often.
Thank you. So next up for Ben. So we have Yok right here. She's a team that organized Startup Weekend here in Bangkok, and also part of the team that's helping running Hubba Thailand, which is partly the co-working space that we're based here right now. So Yok, question for Ben.
Hi Ben. I have a question. Our CEO these days are trying to be a rocking star CEO, but you seem to be blocking the trend. And what is your advice to aspiring new CEO on how they should act?
On how they should act. I mean, I think you just have to be yourself. You know, I think I don't know. I think one thing, you know, when I was first starting Pinterest, I have a lot of entrepreneurs that I really look up to. You know, I look up to you, Richard. You know, I looked up to Steve Jobs. I looked up to entrepreneurs of the past. And I think there are a lot of lessons you can learn, but one thing common is all those people were just themselves every day, and they found a way to make who they were into their strengths, and where they had weaknesses, they found people on their team to sort of complement those weaknesses. So I don't know, I guess I would say there are a lot of ways to be successful, and you should really just be yourself, but be self-aware of the things that you're good at and not good at, and then try to complement yourself with people that can help fill those gaps in. My team has a lot of people that are really excellent managers, because I had never managed anyone before. Some people that are a little bit more like charismatic and outgoing for when we do sales, because those aren't my strong suits, and so I'm trying to improve. But I know there are people that are world class there, and I can give them an opportunity to really shine here and build something great together. So.
Ben, I think you've been a great role model in that regard, and Richard, wondering if you also have advice for future or current CEOs.
I think, as Ben says, just to be yourself. I think Ben's Ben comes across very modestly, but obviously is great with people and has created a wonderful company, and I think he's done that by by being himself, not trying to be anything else, not trying to be a rock star. And that's what I'd recommend to anybody. I mean, in my own particular case, I didn't have the advertising budget to take full page ads, so I had to sort of use myself to promote the Virgin brand, and so yeah, I had to sort of jump in balloons and jump in boats and do crazy things to get the brand on the map, and it was a lot of fun. So there is that approach as well.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you, Richard,
you.
Ben, and khop kun ka to the team in Thailand.
ขอบคุณครับ Thank you from Bangkok.
Great. So next we head to Bogota, Colombia, and the Virgin Mobile space there. Hi, Felipe.
Hi, everybody. We are very happy to be a part of this hangout. We are Virgin Mobile Colombia, and maybe the youngest company of the group. We opened 7 months ago, and we are the second Virgin company in Latin America after Virgin Mobile Chile. Let me introduce the people that will be attending this hangout today. For our marketing team, Andrea Bernal, our community manager, Juan Carlos Lemus, our IT man, and myself, Felipe Martinez, marketing communications manager. And we also have a very special guest for this hangout. Her name is Angie Monroy. Hi. And she's a designer passionate for social media, especially Pinterest. She has one of the most important Pinterest pages in Colombia, with 7,000 followers and a lot of pins. And well, you have a question for Ben.
Ben, it's such an honor to meet you, really, and hear all your ideas for success. The question we have is that today we think that people are more visual than textual. Do you think that that's part of Pinterest success? And can you give us a few ideas for brands to engage potential clients with Pinterest?
Sure. Well, first, thanks for using Pinterest. We really appreciate it. So I guess the first part of your question was, do I think people are more visual than textual? I think visuals are very, very powerful for people, and up until recently, a lot of the internet was like just text. So I think that as more people have more screens in their life, your phone is always in your pocket, everyone has a TV, maybe they have a tablet. they'll want to consume more and more information visually, and it's a very emotional experience, which I think people love, and it's also a really great opportunity for a brand or a person to tell their story, who they are and where they came from. At Pinterest, when we talk to brands, we're just at the beginning of this, but what we often tell them is the first thing you can do is make it very easy for people who love your brand to pin your products or pin your assets and share it and make your story kind of their own story. So we actually think that many brands do best by having the people that really love them tell their story for them because they want to be associated with it. We think Pinterest can help do that based upon your interests. That's how we often give advice. But I think that overall, I think you'll see more and more media become much more visual and much more immersive as the years go on.
So much.
Okay, and Andrea has another question for Richard.
Hi, Richard. It's really an honor to be here and to meet you and to work for your brand here in Colombia. My question as a community manager, of course, is regarding social media. And it's basically to ask you, how can you use social media to improve your customer relationship management?
Well, look, I think at Virgin, as you know, we treat social media very seriously. I spend a lot of time on social media myself, and I think if as a chairman of the company you can build a big following, that helps because you can then use it to not to sell things, but to get to deal with issues, to get messages across, and I found that very helpful. A lot of my life is now spent on the not-for-profit companies, and so for instance, I'm part of something called the Global Drug Commission, which is trying to look at the war on drugs. We believe it's a failed war. And we're very much using social media to try to get governments to change their approach and treat drugs as a health problem, not a criminal problem, and to help people who've got drug issues in the same way that you'd help alcoholics who've got alcohol issues, and not to put people in prison. So social media has been a very powerful way of getting these messages across. And then if people have issues with the company, they often go to the chairman's social media pages, and that's a very clever idea because we don't like to see negative things on our social media pages, and we make sure those people's issues are addressed very quickly.
Thank you.
Anyway,
Richard.
it's nice. It's great. I'm looking forward to coming and seeing. I'm looking forward to coming and seeing you all in Colombia soon. Anyway. Cheers.
We'll hope it's sooner than later, please.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Great. Well, let me hand it off now to Melissa at the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship in Kingston, Jamaica.
Hi, Ben and Richard and everyone. We're actually hanging out with you today from Usain Bolt's Tracks and Records in Kingston, Jamaica. Woo! Tracks and Records, in its own right, is run by a group of young, innovative entrepreneurs, and they've partnered with us today to not only facilitate us hanging out with you, but we also have a large group outside watching it on the big screen, and it includes some of our entrepreneurs as well as our local mentors and partners who work with us here to make business a force for good. So we're excited about that. We're excited to be hanging out with you. And here I have 5 of our Branson Center entrepreneurs. And I'll hand it over to Helen Akirora French, who has a question for Richard.
My company name is Mount Pleasant Farm Chocolatiers. My question is for Richard. Have you ever gotten any piece of advice that you've been hesitant to implement, and how did you deal with it?
Anyway, it's lovely to talk to you all, and it was great coming to Jamaica a couple of weeks ago and seeing you all there. So great to see you again. Let me see. I'm sure there's lots of things. There was one occasion where one of our engineers had come up with the idea of putting seatback videos in all the seats of our airplanes, and no airline had ever put seatback videos in its planes. And it looked like it was going to be horribly expensive. I mean, it was going to cost about $10 million. And we tried to borrow the money. We couldn't borrow the money. And then I had an idea, and I rang up Boeing and said, look, if I buy 10 new 747s, will you put seatback videos in all our seats as part of the buying the planes? And they agreed. So I couldn't borrow 10 million, but I could borrow $1 billion to buy the planes, and I managed to get the seatback videos. So sometimes you just have to come up with anyway, be bold, I suppose, and cheeky, and you might be able to achieve something like that. I'm sure Ben, I see him smiling. I bet you he's got a similar
you have a good
thing
story
like that.
right there, Ben?
Oh, I'm just smiling because I can't believe you bought 10 planes instead of the $10 million. It's such a great idea. I haven't heard the story before. I was just enjoying it.
No.
Richard, screw it. Let's do it.
Yeah, screw it. Just do it. Exactly.
And now Brian Brown, who has a question for Ben.
Hi, everybody. Name of my company is Livewire Act, an ad agency for SMEs and an online entertainment registry. And my question is for Ben. Do you think that patience is an overlooked virtue in starting up a business?
Do I think patience is an overlooked virtue?
Yes. Startups especially.
Yeah, I think that whenever you're doing something no one's done before, there's a pretty high chance that it's not going to work out. And generally, I think the leading indicator of whether you're going to figure it out is how long you keep on working on it. So if that's patience, then I think that it's maybe one of the most important things. I think that at Pinterest, I always tell our team that as excited as I am for the first version of a product, I'm even more excited for version 2 and version 3 and version 4, because that's when you actually start to get improvements based upon real customers. And so I think that sort of longevity and focus on the things that you believe in and kind of continuing to invest on them is helpful. And you also have to give the good judgment to say sometimes we gave it a good run, but we were wrong, and we're just going to discard it and move on, and we've learned from it. So I think it cuts a little bit of both ways. But in general, I would say that most young startups, I feel, probably fail because the founders run out of resources, or they run out of emotional energy too early, rather than people just having a bad idea. I think if you give people a lot of encouragement and a lot of runway, eventually hardworking, smart people will just figure something valuable out.
Ben, as a follow-up to that, can you tell us about how you think about customer feedback and user feedback and sort of putting your product out there early versus being patient, so to speak, and how you balance that at Pinterest?
Yeah, I mean, we try to sort of make sure that products meet our standard of what we think quality is, and to us what that means is that whatever we promise a person they can do with the product, we believe that it works, and it works for us. And so when we build products, we have many people who are users coming into the office. We all test the products ourselves on our phones and our computers all the time. We gather early data. And then when we feel like we have something that's interesting to people, we put it out there in the world, and then we move forward from there. I think if you put something out that you yourself know is not very good, you might be lucky and it might just work out, but you should trust your gut and believe that you have good judgment on what will work and what won't.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you to the team in Kingston.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you. What a terrific set of questions from our participants around the world. Thank you all. Ben and Richard, we have time for one last question and parting thoughts from each of you. So I'd love for you to just reflect on your aspirations for the future, and if you could give each other one piece of advice, what would it be?
Yeah.
After
you, Ben.
I don't know. It seems like you kind of have it figured out. I don't know. I guess my advice to you, it seems like one thing that I've always admired about your story is that through ups and downs, it seems like you've had fun every step along the way. Even in the tough times, you have good perspective. And so, I don't know, keep having fun. It seems like you are while doing good things for the world.
Wonderful.
Well, yes, thank you for that. I will take that advice on board, and I hopefully everybody who's listening in will do the same, because I think, yeah, if you're having fun, and if the people you're working with are having fun and they're really enjoying what they're doing, you know, they'll achieve a lot more. And you know, I think in the process, it's important that you find time to look after yourself, look after your body. You know, find fun ways of getting fit and healthy. You know, because obviously, if your body lets you down, you're not going to be able to continue to do the wonderful things you're doing. And I think early on you said that you're a good delegator, which is great, because I think you know, you know, that's absolutely critical for your health, and it gives you time to think about the bigger picture of things, and trying to find great people to do the day-to-day running, so you can think of the big picture. But anyway, we're all incredibly proud of the company you've built, and I'm really proud of all the companies that people are building around the world, in Jamaica, in Africa, in the UK, and in Korea, in Thailand, and thanks all for joining in today. It's been great. Thank you, and nice to talk to you all. Cheers.
Absolutely. This is such useful and valuable perspectives for all of us, and I really want to sincerely thank both of you, Ben and Richard, and thank you to all of our participants for joining from corners all around the world. And we wish everyone a very happy Global Entrepreneurship Week, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.